sat in Dad's lap at 5 years old. There's a lot more to the story. In the woods, around three houses in the neighborhood, all the New York City brokers, they got thrown out. And the bungalows, last of the Mohegans, got a block grant from the Gustavus and Milk Company to build houses. And nobody paid the mortgage. But the roads were paved, pruned it neat and orderly. Well, some woman used to come by and give me $20. I was about 14 years old after the aptitude test score. 2 more years and you try out. It's a good idea you have, let's try it. The Order Americans Incorporated Company, the engineers, they're going to make a machine tool to make what they want. Well, it was a procurement contract from the military to Grumman Aerospace, nothing to do with Grumman Aerospace. It was agreed as a radio shop. It was National Guard, search and rescue. It was an area that, they had the Big Bird, the F-14A6E2, in metric, meaning French arithmetic, which was not English. 0.025, 4 of those per 100,000. It's about that much. All 39.25, I think. How would it ever work if Casio and Tokyo was making the calculators who can convert from this is 1 inch? I say this is 1 inch. I say that's 1 inch. Is it a ball screw? All that stuff and mechanics and all those things are really important. But it all came together to manufacture the Federal Acquisition 14, 6, and 2 with 1 spare complete airplane. And a panel, mechanical panel and landing gear, something that Grumman does not do, get into any kind of military involvement in their area. They're building their own on something called Long Island that the military shut down as Long Island and no longer Atlantis, where we fell from in heaven. And does that make sense? Not to me, it doesn't. But it is on the maps in DoD Galactic, the highest receipt UFO program and various different things, which to me, I guess it could be. But how would I know? Something all new. To soil your brain that you only take instruction when you were a decision maker on a machine shop floor. That's not an easy thing to do, where your mind used to evaluate when it was being told by the people before you, who would accept what was told from the president of the company, the United States Air Force jet engine mechanic, who took me in to raise me. Long dead, as written in a news article, Harper, and replaced by somebody else and 2 other people, a husband and wife, and to go on to live a different life. And how did I ever get in her womb, other than fake pictures or medical science in a 6,000-year-old nation? Was about to go to war with something unprecedented in the United States of America, in the Northeast with Warner Robins Air Force Base, Marietta, Georgia, Lockheed Martin, Marietta, would travel to the Northeast with a carnival in Citrus Springs, children and all, to go up there, learn and grow culture and all things, and me, Camelot, was going to give us all $325 a month, half for mortgage, rent, and insurance, and half for food with 2 boys who would not work. The father would work if enlisted or de-enlisted in a contract to show what they could do in the woods. Built a beautiful sprawling city in Exit 57. I had nothing but hole jaws, Howard Johnson's, a place we stop over and get a bite to eat, and continue the last half of the journey to get out to the east end of Long Island, just off the coastline of New York City by about 30 miles, in the Hudson River, or the Long Island Sound, I should say. So, things had taken a turn to go out and try out where we're going to do degrees in all new posi tool, in all new CNC cutter compensation, which was called Cutting Edge Technology. In the Naturals program, who walks over it does not make a mistake for 3 weeks and then gets thrown out after screwing up. Well, how long does he go for? 5 years. 3 years for the employers to piss around when it was done in 2 years. When it was -6 and -7, 15 each. Then -8 and 9. There's other people have different opinions. Another 15 each. -10 and 11. Right, left side of the airplane and right's are complete opposites, as you see. Complete opposites. And how do you do all those things? How do you know it? How do you sit in your father's lap? Went to the high school, took the class in mechanical drawing, knew what the government corporation wanted, or how it was to be read and how it was to be done. But a chance to go up there and all nerves and fears. Ratings they had in the book. Degrees were an empty triangle. Who's going to fill it in? The information x squared plus y squared equals inverse square root hypotenuse. Which buttons do you hit in the Casio calculator? The $9 job from Tokyo. And did they have it figured out right? That it might not be you at all, that you are getting blamed for it. Or it carried for 2 years and finished. Then 3 years of the employer's changing proof, they have to fix it. 0 rejections. They do have to fix it. We carried for 10 years. So Michael, wouldn't it be better if we do it this way? Should I go ahead? All the cash paid for, $600,000 interest, lease payments, and principal, and screw that all up. Wouldn't it be better to do what we're doing and get to Calverton in Long Island, go live in a house in Orient Park? Who are those men? Why were they that way? You have to fix something not broken. But that's what it is. That was Long Island. To make ratings and anything military would shut it down and destroy it all. Get all the certifications pulled, all the specs pulled, and make junk. Now you would have to change scales, sign plates, machines, rulers, gauges, encoders to produce metric, which is what the French jet was. There was a war between the English and the French. They took a place in Long Island and called it Antilles. And nobody to protect to do anything to make them all slaves. To teach them metric and spread it throughout the U.S. From Appalachians to Rocky Mountains, all French. English up in the Northeast, and they attacked them all, pushing them back to a small spot. It became known as Camelot. $50 billion. $325 each for about 17 weeks. Fresh food, something to eat. Let's talk about the Constitution. A new government was forming. The Hamilton that did out in New York City. It all ended in Aaron Burr and his fight when he shot him dead. Pick it up and put it in here. We make our own choices. I would think at this age we don't make our own choices, do we? It would depend on size does matter. Power does matter. But that's all it was. A 2-year deal. Extended 3 years, canceled to a NASA panel in metric, possibly better engineering, a research and development conference to make a decision. The mechanical drawing table establishes the points in mechanical things such as ball screws and encoders and motors and all kinds of things that a jet engine mechanic would know. He was accused of sleeping with a harlot in a brothel. That was my mother. He says, no, it was not some crazy woman who got my father's military pay taken away from him. But I did have an offering check from Florida for 2004 for when we had AT&T telephone, cable vision, all kinds of things we would not otherwise have. And still to this day, they have that check to raise me. And who did take half my check, and why they ought to cut that deal? Half your check for a home. Lieutenant Rusi of the Fire Department of Citrus Springs. Take half of my pay. I got paid $352,000 in 18 years, or divided by 18 years. The other half went to Rusi in his old age who couldn't feed himself. Who built the Ronkonkoma, Smithtown, Lindenhurst places, and Comac of the Fire Department, and worked with the Garden City DOD. All that the world had declared a war for oil that they needed, as they have manufacturing and gears and gibs and grease and all things they need, including fuel oil for trucks or locomotives and all kinds of things, and cars that most people do not agree with. Back to agriculture, go to the store and buy food and walk there. You go home and no lights in the house, and no ovens and stoves and no anything. And some people cannot see it. But they do it anyway. They don't want it done because then they have to pay for it. I do have the benefits of the people that did. Well, at least 20 years older than me and them dead, or a couple of them still straggling around. What was degrees? Right. There's a radius. He said what it was this radius is equal to this is what this is. This is now, this is only 1 degree. This does not equal this, and only this does. How do you figure that out? All right. Some kid might have done that and it became a accepted thing 6,000 years ago. And now medicine will figure out how to bring somebody back to life as necessary to bring back and put in the hell of eternal damnation. To ask questions. One of us see to make movies. All right. More of the same. You get a public support check. I do? No, I don't. You're lying from day one. Wanted to put educations in. This ought to be good. Bye-bye now. That did take the shortcut. And what was the answer? I love this. I love that one. You do anything you sound. I'm drooling at this.